At 30 years of age, Canadian Scott Fraser is the most promising young stock car talent in the American Speed Association. He is a proven winner, both on and off the racetrack. Just ask longtime sponsor Dan McLeod.
We firmly believe that Scott probably, over the course of the last 6 to 8 years, has probably been our best ambassador in terms of promoting ourselves in the products that we represent.
Scott possesses an amazing gift for driving race cars and an incredible desire to win.
Ever since I started racing, I've had the desire to win. We've had the desire to work extra hard to make that happen, to work as a team extra hard to make it happen at the racetrack. And second just isn't in my vocabulary. We go to every race knowing we can win or we wouldn't go at all.
Scott Fraser grew up steeped in auto racing in the small maritime Canadian town of Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. Poised halfway between the North Pole and the equator, the formidable elements here have chiseled men from the durable bedrock of character and individuality since the beginning of the New World. Scott learned the craft of building race cars in the family-owned welding business. In those formative years, the value of hard work and determination were indelibly etched into him, becoming stronger than the welds he labored over in the shop. Yet even as he labored, he dreamed.
I realized I want to be professional probably at the age of 6 years old when I was helping my father in the race shop, working on race cars all my life, and when I turned 16, that was the legal age to be able to race a race car. I started.
Scott's father, Frank, a legendary short-track racer in Eastern Canada, guided Scott through the early twists and turns of his racing career. Scott's budding talent shined in his first head-to-head battle with stock car great Junior Hanley when he finished a strong third in his first ACT race. But Hanley was not the only Canadian racing legend to feel the heat of Scott's young talent. As he came of age, Scott dominated stock car racing in Eastern Canada, eventually surpassing all, including Frank Fraser.
For me, it was the case where that was the year when he was winning everything. And it was the first chance all year that I really had a chance to come from behind him to pass him. And we actually had the quickest car near the end of the race. And I caught him, and just when I drove up beside him, I dropped the cylinder. And I said, the lucky son of a gun got it again. I mean, I had him beat that particular day, and the cylinder dropped at the right time, and we were so far ahead of everybody else, I had to back off and finish second. But that bothered me more. It didn't bother me finishing second to him. It bothered me because I had the car to beat him for a change, and I didn't get a chance to prove it.
In the spring of 2000, Scott was chosen by veteran Canadian racer Rolly McDonald to pilot the Chevrolets from his brand new King Racing team in the American Speed Association. As a savvy businessman, Rolly recognized the opportunity that the ASA represented and built a championship caliber team from the ground up. As a former NASCAR champion, Rolly recognized Scott's talent immediately. The American Speed Association is the most competitive non-NASCAR series in the United States. It has produced some of the greatest stock car racers in the history of the sport. Great names like Darrell Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, and Mark Martin claim roots with the ASA. It is within the tough confines of this extremely competitive series that Scott would make his next big splash. This time, even his mom and his significant other were taken by surprise.
I would say my proudest moment of Scott would be this year that just went by, when he finally got the opportunity to go and race ASA. And we went down there, and in the truck on the way down, I was just really proud, and all I kept thinking was, as long as we get a top 20.
I got a call from Jody to tell us that he had gotten outside pole, and I was so excited. I ran from the motorhome across the track, lost my glasses, and another stock car drove over them. And I was trying to find Frank to tell him, and in the meantime I was meeting Joan Rui at the same time, and she was saying that, did you hear? And I said, yes, he had an outside pole.
I'm Scott Fraser, driver of the 00 King Freight Line Monte Carlo, and I'd like to say hi to everybody in Canada.
The success Scott found in qualifying continued throughout the weekend. In a field that included 5 former American Speed Association champions and the cream of American short track racers, Scott would finish an impressive 8th in his first ASA outing. When they arrived at the legendary Milwaukee Mile, the momentum of another front-row qualifying effort rocketed them to the front of the pack for 66 laps in an impressive display of dominance. Problems on pit road robbed the team of precious track position, but as the national television audience watched, Scott came racing back in a breathtaking charge to the front that would land him third position. The King Racing team claimed 2 top 5s in the ASA in 2000, finishing 11th or better in 5 out of 6 starts. For Scott Fraser, the future is boundless. His skill and determination are focused squarely on the next step toward success.
We have the confidence to go into the 2001 season knowing what we've done last year in the 6 races we've run in the ASA series. We went to our first race at Chicago, sat on outside pole, and led for the first 20 laps. So it was obvious to us then that we had a team and a car that could compete in that series. And my goals for 2001 are to compete in the ASA series, to contend for the Rookie of the Year, and contend for the Points Championship. And I feel right now that we have the car, we have the team, and right now we're hoping that we have a great year and compete for that.